think you all got the point. We are commemorating one of the feasts that occurred this week, yesterday, the Holy Angels. And those of you who came earlier would have heard how the Lord made them highly intelligent, able to move virtually instantaneously from one place to another, communicating by some sort of methods that we could only say are thoughts, but it's something much higher than that. And being fleshless, having not the flesh that we have, being able to go through walls and ceilings and whatever else. And as I said to you last week, if you're listening carefully, it says that the Lord was made a little lower than the angels. He came a little lower than the angels. And those who don't believe that Christ is God hang on to those words and say, see, Christ is not God. He's lower than the angels even. But of course what they're referring to, what St. Luke is referring to, is the fact that the Lord is humbling himself in order that he may be amongst us and may raise us up into the heavenly realm. Because if he came with great lightning and all those sorts of things, people would flee. The angelic world is indeed an amazing world of which we know actually very little about. Very little. But we know that it exists. And it is mentioned many times in the Old Testament and in the New Testament as well. Not only that, angelic beings do appear to humans and have been appearing to humans and will appear to humans, because each person baptized to the true church has a holy guardian angel, and there are prayers in the morning and the evening for us to pray so that that angel will not be, I say, using human terms, will not be distressed on account of our unrighteousness. Because every time you do something wrong, your holy guardian angel, well, they don't suffer the same way we do, but suffer in some sort of mystical way. I've been on the past few weeks telling you about the sort of things that your children are being exposed to at school. I just wanted to show you a small clip of an alternative which exists quite widely. It's about the earth and its heavenly disposition. It's scientifically been shown that what you're about to see is quite true, and in fact is more accurate than the way that it is presented to your children in Western school books. On account of my throat, this will also give me a bit of a break. There's something, Vladimir is not here to tell it today. But, if we turn it on,
No.
You judge for yourself. Why can't they show these things to the kids at school? Off you go. Put it right up. You might have to use the other.
Really spinning on its own axis around the sun
dense terrestrial convex ball going anywhere from a few hundred miles per hour to 1,000 miles per hour around the axis of the Earth? Is this really the truth? Or have we been duped into believing something that's actually incorrect? Yes, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this is one of those idiots who thinks he knows the Earth is flat, or that we're not on a spinning ball, we're on the inside of a spinning ball, or maybe we're geocentric rather than heliocentric. Maybe Copernicus was wrong. Maybe Carl Sagan was wrong about that pale blue dot. Well, actually, we do have scientific proof that Carl Sagan, his main premise was incorrect, and that Copernicus' main premise was incorrect. We actually have scientific proof already that they were both wrong in their main premise, that we are just in some random spot in the universe. With the WMAP findings from the satellite WMAP and from the Planck satellite, the cosmic background radiation has been mapped out to show that we are actually in the center of the universe. This has already been confirmed. Yet, of course, they don't want you to really know that, so they still explain it away. We have to explain anything away that doesn't fit the standard thing taught in school. That you are on a convex ball spinning through the galaxy. You're just a pale blue dot, insignificant and irrelevant. Of course, perhaps they are trying to say there is no God. Maybe that's what they want you to believe. But is that really what's going on here? Or is it we really don't have scientific proof? Even of the simplest thing as the Earth spinning on its own axis, or spinning around the sun. Maybe you haven't been told about all the experiments, Michelson-Morley experiments, the Early's failure, and many other experiments that actually failed to detect the Earth's rotation. And that the special theory of relativity was concocted to explain away these inconsistencies. Here we are at Geek Central, physics.stackexchange.com. All right. Proof that the Earth rotates. What is the proof without leaving Earth and involving only basic physics? That the Earth rotates on its axis. By basic physics, I mean the physics that the early physicists must have used to deduce that it rotates, not relativity. Of course, I was going to do a video on the special theory of relativity and how it actually is illogical. By the way, I have a background in mechanical engineering. I did quite a bit of studies in physics and mathematics and a lot of different topics. Based on my calculus courses and physics courses, so I might know a little bit about this. And I think the special theory of relativity is actually bullshit because of a couple simple things. They try to say that the speed of light is constant, okay, within a vacuum. Now this is an assumption, and we actually don't have any proof of this. And it doesn't make logical sense either if you think about it for a little while. If you're going half the speed of light, and you have a flashlight in your hand, and you turn the flashlight on and point it in the same direction that you're going, would the speed of light be only half the speed of light from the light source? What do we have as a reference point? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, so in other words, if you're going, if somebody's in a stationary position watching a person go half the speed of light, and that person is observing the other one, and the person going half the speed of light turns on a flashlight pointing the same direction he is going, according to the special theory of relativity, the light coming from the flashlight would only go half the speed of light. Okay, so so the person watching it, observing it from the outside, would see the light come out only at the speed of light. Okay, so, but wouldn't it make more sense that if you shot, like for instance, a gun while you're on a train, and assuming there was a vacuum, and you shot it forward the same direction that the train is going, that it would actually be irrelevant to the speed in which it's shot. Of course, they just explain this all away, and it's used to explain away the problem of these experiments not being able to prove that the Earth is actually spinning around the sun. Okay, so these guys say, okay, what are some answers to this here? What is a proof without living Earth involving only basic physics that the Earth rotates on its axis? Okay, so I don't like this. I don't even know what this guy's talking about here. He's not really saying anything. The apparent retrograde motion of the planets as observed from Earth was puzzling. In order to resolve motions into logical patterns, it was necessary to consider the Earth both moving in orbit and about its axis. Actually, this is one way you can explain what you see with the motion of the planets. You can also use things that have to do with ellipses that go close and far with patterns of magnetism and things of that nature, electromagnetism. And I've seen other models that actually explain it as well, other than us moving through the galaxy. And, this would only be a cursory evidence, which wouldn't really be proof positive that we were spinning or anything of the sort. It would just be two different ways to explain the same data, and one being potentially right, both being wrong. Okay, here we go. What is this guy saying? Okay, true proof exists only in math. In the real world, you cannot be 100% sure of anything, whatever. Okay, that's a stupid answer. This is an effect on Earth by its own rotation. I have heard of the circumference of the Earth along its equator is larger than any circumference measured crossing North Pole. What does that have to do with anything? Okay, that's not an answer to anything. Full-call pendulum. Okay, this one actually is not an answer. People think it is, but it's not. And actually, it does have an interesting pattern, but see, this can also be explained by ether. See, the idea or the concept that we are actually living inside a ball rather than on the outside of a ball. See, we are supposedly or allegedly living on the outside of a ball, but what if instead we're on the inside of a ball, a hollow ball, and we're on the inside? If we were inside a ball, then the universe would be inside the ball as well. And what if instead of the Earth moving, it's the ether or the sky moving? And if the sky is moving, and it has an effect on things on planet Earth, in the same way that we think, the rotation of the Earth would have effect on things, then it would make sense that full-call pendulum would do this. But what's interesting, the one proof that sort of puts a hole in the whole heliocentric model, claiming that the full-call pendulum proves that we're on a rotating ball, is the fact that whenever there's a lunar equinox, the full-call pendulum actually changes directions and actually does not behave as it's supposed to. So why would that occur? If there's a lunar equinox, why would it interrupt this in any way, shape, or form? It should not. Assuming the heliocentric model, assuming we're on a convex ball, assuming that we're rotating around the sun, the full-call pendulum should have zero effect from a lunar eclipse. However, if we are on the inside of a ball, and the sun and moon are actually not so far away from us, we're on the inside of the ball, and the sun and moon would be inside the Earth. Then, at a lunar eclipse, you can actually imagine how that might have an effect on the ether itself. Okay, so that's one little issue with the full-call pendulum proof. Okay? It changed the angle. Now I'm going to show you a video explaining or actually showing this out so you can understand, because it's very clear once you look at it.
So tipping the telescope does not tell us whether it is the starlight moving or the telescope.
scientifically that the Earth can indeed be still and the cosmos move around it. And mathematically, you'll still get exactly the same answers as if you took a model where the sun is still, planets are moving around there. In fact, the opposite, where the Earth is still, the mathematics, even though it's a bit more complex, is more accurate. You get more accurate answers. And it's fascinating, you get fascinating patterns of the way the planets move. They sort of go around in these beautiful, beautiful patterns that perfectly match up again with each other. Okay.
Found this out so you can understand, because it's very clear once you look at the experiment that there's something really wrong here. That in reality, we aren't spinning. The sky is spinning.
In 1729, Bradley found that he had to tip his telescope forward very slightly to get a star in the center of his telescope. It was assumed that this was due to the motion of the Earth around the Sun. Let us assume that the telescope was moving at 5 miles an hour and had to be tipped 5 degrees. This 5-degree tipping, however, could equally be caused by the ether moving at 5 miles an hour, carrying the stars around the Earth. As we see here, the light would be coming in at the same angle, and the telescope would still have to be tipped 5 degrees. So tipping the telescope does not tell us whether it is the starlight moving or the telescope moving. However, there is a simple experiment that can determine whether it was the Earth that was moving or the ether and starlight. All that you had to do was record the tipping required for any particular star, then fill the telescope with water, which greatly slows down the speed of light in the telescope. So here is the moving telescope filled with water, tipped at 5 degrees, and you can see that the starlight does not now reach the eyepiece at the bottom. This is because the starlight moves much more slowly when passing through the water. However, if the telescope is tipped further, say 10 degrees, then the starlight will then be visible again in the eyepiece. It has to be tipped further because the light is now slower when in the telescope. But if the starlight is going past the telescope at 5 miles an hour, then when it is filled with water, no further tipping is needed because the light is coming in at 5 degrees anyway. The starlight stays on the same path, but is only travelling slower in the water. To recap, if it is the telescope that is moving, then when it is filled with water, it has to be tipped further
So we can see here that in actuality, what we have is scientific proof that the earth is not moving, but rather the heavens or the ether is rotating within the earth or on the outside of the earth. Which sort of presents a problem. Of course, the way they explain away these inconsistencies is with the special theory of relativity. So instead of actually having scientific proof that the earth is rotating around the sun, that the earth is spinning on its own axis, instead they explained away why scientific experiments showed the earth wasn't spinning by coming up with a special theory of relativity, which, as I've indicated, isn't even logical. However, actually watch some of the video footage from this supposed ISS. You'll find out that the women's hair is basically hairsprayed up, make it appear as if they're in zero gravity. But then if you actually go look at women who are in zero gravity, or at least manufactured zero gravity, if you do a parabolic with a plane, you get a short period of time in which you can feel in essence that you're in zero gravity. If you ever look at some of the women who go on those, their hair never looks like this. And well, those women, they're kilometers up, carbon line, with inside this concave earth. Let me show you something that reveals this from the International Space Station. Okay, you're going to see it here. Okay, you see this line here? This is a carbon line. This is where the ionosphere delineates from our atmosphere, and you can see interesting lightning flashes there. This is at nighttime. You see how this line is. This is the carbon line. Now, they're using a panoramic camera here that actually bends the Earth because it's panoramic. Now, if they used a normal camera in space, this would be flat looking. Okay? You can actually see this on amateur videos. Just go check out some amateur high altitude balloon.
Those of you who wish, we can go through this. The whole point is that this man then later on goes back to the New Testament and the Old Testament and shows the truth of those words that the Lord created the earth before he created the sun, and he fixed it so it won't be moving. It's even in the Psalms. So the earth is fixed and the cosmos moves around it because we are the center. We are the center. We are the place where Christ came. We are the place where Adam and Eve was created, where paradise was put, and everything moves around that. And it can be proven mathematically. The mathematics is difficult, but it's not overly difficult. A person doing 12 year 12 maths would be able to easily do it. And the results are more accurate. The other thing is that we do not feel any movement if the earth was moving. We don't feel any movement at all. And how come if we fly from Melbourne to Moscow, what is it, 18 hours, and at the same time to fly back? So if the earth was moving, it would take far longer to fly there because you'd have to catch up to the moon and the earth before you could make it. And far, far less to come back. They do not want you to have this taught to your children or to you in order that they can then add on to this a godless establishment of the cosmos through the so-called Big Bang, where God is not involved. And therefore they're not putting a scientific theory forward, but a philosophical idea or a faith based on something else. Now teachers, and I know some of you are teachers, suffer over this because in some schools you can literally be fired if you show the children the alternative. You don't have to teach them, just show them the alternative is enough to get you into trouble. In some schools, you can show them the alternative and discuss it like you normally would discuss a scientific subject. That is, you look at it critically, you examine it, has there been experiments done to prove this? Do they work out? Is the mathematical modelling correct? If you go into any bookshop, you'll find beautiful, beautiful books on astronomy with lots of pictures of different planets and stars and all this. Where did they get them? They're all photoshopped. Or actually created by another package which is far more powerful than Photoshop, which allows them to make these type of worlds on a computer and then publish them as if this was the reality. Because we've never sent camera up there or anything like this. We can't go very far. It's a massive effort just to get to the moon, if it is even possible to get to the moon, let alone to get to anywhere else. And the studies that have been done in University of Queensland over the past few years do indeed show that the speed of light varies. It's been slowing down on account of our sins. So if it's slowing down, then all these heavenly bodies that we see are far closer to us than they make them out to be. One of the first things that happen when a person dies in the faith is that their guardian angel takes them and begins to show them the glory of God, begins to show them the cosmos as far as it's possible to see it, as it's infinite. All those questions that the guardian angel knows you have are answered without you having to ask them. And other wondrous things are shown. And then also are shown the horrors of a place where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth, which we hope we never have to go to. After that, the person appears before Christ. He's given a temporary place depending on their worldly life, where we still have a chance of praying for that person and in the Lord's mercy having them saved. Holy people, of course, zip through all this into the heavenly realm. But nobody gets the fullness of the glory, nor does anybody get the fullness of the suffering until the second coming of Christ and the great judgment, except this Holy Mother of God, who has been given the fullness of the joy of heavenly life. So you, little ones, which are going to be faced with this, yes, you do have to read your books, but you also have to ask around parents and others, is that the truth? Or is this just a theory that they're trying to push, upon which they base their exam questions? And you have to find out the alternatives even if they're not going to ask you of them, you have to know them. Okay? Same with all us adults as well. Because the knowledge of the truth is one of the things that we pray for, and what the Lord prayed for us to have a knowledge of the truth of things. Things are not the way they seem. We have flesh at the moment, and we think this flesh is heavy and burdensome, and we have to take Panadol and all sorts of things for it. The angels, on the other way, are sort of jealous that they haven't got flesh, because their creation was on a lower level. They only have a soul and spirit, but no flesh as we have. So we have the ultimate, and Christ came with the ultimate, and he undid the damage that was done by Adam and Eve for us, so that at the resurrection of the dead, we will resurrect with a new body that will be able to pass through a wall, even though it's got flesh, and do all sorts of wondrous things. If you want to be in Jupiter, there you are. Speak as that. God help us and protect us with all these things, and may you get the point about how tricky things are in the world, because I know from your confessions, some of you worry about the fact that the truth is not given to you today. It is, but you have to search it out. And by searching it out, you are actually doing like a good deed. You are being fruitful before God for doing that searching out. It's a virtue. It's a virtue. It helps you. Let us say.